Hey everyone, it's Costin with Solutions 8, and today I want to talk to you about my favorite question. And by that, I mean my least favorite question. Anytime I'm talking to a new advertiser, especially, the inevitable question I'm going to get is, well, what channel is better? Should I be marketing on YouTube or Google Ads or Google Display or Facebook or Instagram or Twitter? Nobody's ever actually said Twitter. I needed a list. So just let me give lip service to the academic answer first, and then I'll give you kind of more of my petulant, opinionated answer. The academically correct answer is it depends. It depends on your approach. It depends on who you're marketing to, where in the sales cycle you're trying to capture them, what your value proposition is, what you're offering, who this prospect is, what they're looking for. So to give you ultra specific examples, if you're a divorce attorney, nobody pulls up Facebook thinking like, oh, I hope a divorce attorney lands in my newsfeed today. And Facebook's not going to do a great job at prioritizing that type of content unless you're really sneaky about the way that you position it, because Facebook, it's sensitive about the type of targeting it allows. So if you're a divorce attorney, you probably want to go with Google Ads, right? Like divorce attorney near me, and now you want your ad to pop up. Conversely, if you are something that somebody isn't necessarily looking for, so let's say that you've created something new, like you have like a cell phone case that, like this ultra whiz bang, whatever, has a bunch of stuff that people's cell phone cases normally don't have. Nobody knows to search for that. And so that's actually a really good thing to push out in front of Facebook. And you've probably seen those a lot, like product demo videos do really well on Facebook. Like, let me show you this awesome new kickstand cell phone case that you don't probably already have, that type of thing. So if you're going for intent-based traffic, if you want to target people that are out there actively looking, that typically means they're at the bottom of the sales funnel. So they've gone past the awareness, consideration, et cetera, and they're down to where, okay, I'm ready to make a decision. Intent-based traffic tends to be, I think, best engaged on something like Google search or even Bing search, to be honest with you. Bing, even though the quantity of traffic is low, the quality of traffic tends to be pretty high. So that's intent-based. If you're going for awareness building, if you need to build a brand, if you need to push a product out there, if you need to tell people that you exist, then Facebook is a really good channel for that. So is YouTube. So is Instagram. But even then, it's not fair to just say, wholesale, like, oh, okay, we're going to awareness building. We're going to push out, here's the campaign, here's the media. We're going to push it all out across YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Those three networks are entirely different. And in order to be successful advertising in any medium, you have to respect that medium. And I'll use Facebook and Instagram as a really good example because Facebook Facebook has built their ad management mechanism so that you can just take all of your ads, all of your Facebook ads, and clone them right over to Instagram. Google's done the same thing. And when you're building out Google ads, you can take your video-based advertising and you can take it and push it into YouTube, but you can also expand it into the Google Display Network. I find that paradigm to be in error. Facebook and Instagram are two entirely different networks. People go to Facebook to learn and to engage and to connect. People go into Instagram to dream. Facebook is really left-brained. Instagram is really right-brained. Even if it's the same person in two separate networks ends up kind of engaging differently. What we've found with Instagram, it's really hard to get people out of Instagram. So inside of Instagram, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to kind of build a relationship with you in a way that allows me to cultivate that engagement long term. So I want you to see my face, hear my voice, see my logo, see my value proposition, whatever it ends up being. And I'm expecting that to be more of a nurtured relationship. Facebook, I can put an offer in front of you. Now, I'm not saying not to put offers in front of people instead of Instagram. I'm just saying that they tend to be, Instagram people are less likely to leave Instagram. So that's the place where you go and you kind of edify yourself, validate the offer. And it's just a different network, a different ecosystem, a different approach. Where Facebook, you can be a little bit more direct. So, and if you're going to advertise in any of these networks, use them. So if you're going to use Google Ads, make sure you're relying very heavily on Google search, because the way that you search is going to inform the way that your user searches. If you want to advertise inside of YouTube, then go spend some time poking around YouTube. This is dangerous advice. Don't read the comments. I'm just kidding. Really get to know YouTube the way that the type of person you're trying to target would know it. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to go get a triple PhD in this platform. It just means that you need to engage with it enough to know how somebody who actually relies on it as a resource would engage with this, because it's going to let you know how to advertise to them. So if you're not currently using YouTube actively, you're going to have a tough time advertising on it because you don't know how to position your media, what type of video to create, what to say on the outset, what it is that people are, doing, or what mind frame that they're in when your ad pops up, especially with interrupter marketing. Like, you're annoying people. Nobody's ever been excited about seeing a commercial. And so it's important for you to understand kind of the mindset that somebody's approaching this to, and that's going to be greatly informed by the box that they happen to live inside of, be that Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever. So get to know these networks. With that said, that was my academic answer. Here's my longer answer. We're a Google Ads agency, and there's a reason for that, by the way. Like, we used to be a Me Too agency, and we did all the things. And that's, I think, the way that every marketing agency needs to start, is just doing all the things and thinking that we're good at it. We niched down into paid traffic, and then from paid traffic, we niched down even further into Google. And there was a reason for that. I think that Facebook is a phenomenal tool when it works. The problem is Google is basically ubiquitous truth. Google is, at the risk of maybe overstating my case, Google is, for all intents and purposes, the internet. The Google search feature allows us to canvas. It's the world's window into all of the content available for, the broad majority of humanity. And then, in addition to, not just the search and the ranking algorithm, Google Tag Manager, Google Analytics, and other Google tools are used, again, almost ubiquitously for most websites. And what that does is it gives Google the ability to see who's visiting websites and what they're doing, which intrinsically qualifies those prospects. It allows Google a level of data acquisition that's unparalleled. So, and I know the Facebook pixel exists on some websites, but it's nowhere near as ubiquitous as Google's tool set. And then, in addition to that, you have things like the Google Display Network. So, if the Google Display Network reaches 90% of all users on the internet, and 65% of those are reached on a daily basis. It's the most pervasive thing online. So when I say that Google is the internet, I think that there's some fairness to that statement. Like, it's everywhere that you go. Where Facebook is, it's a self-contained ecosystem. And I understand that Facebook has some tangents, it has some tendrils, it even has its own traffic network. But it's nowhere near as pervasive as Google. You have to go into Facebook in order to engage with Facebook. You have to go into the app in order to, really embed yourself inside of an ecosystem that is, controlled by Facebook or Instagram. With Google, everywhere you go, it's everywhere you go. They have the most popular email application in existence, and they're reading and cataloging everybody's emails. Somebody's search traffic, I think, is far more effective in terms of data acquisition and in terms of really understanding who it is that a person is and what they're interested in. I'd rather have what they ask than what they tell. Facebook knows what you tell it. Google knows what you ask it. And that's worth meditating on. It's worth thinking about, because Facebook knows who you want people to think that you are, and Google knows who you're trying to be. There's a philosophical difference between these two applications, and the way that you're presenting yourself to both. Google's very personal, very private. One of the examples I use often is, think about your search history. You'd show everybody your Facebook newsfeed, right? You kind of already do. That's not private at all. You'd show very few people your Google search history, because that's like super personal and sometimes weird and creepy and embarrassing. And I've searched for stuff that, like, if anybody ever saw, they'd be like, man, what were you thinking? But like a thought pops in your head, and I'm not even talking about things that are like gross or embarrassing, but it's just like, do fish get thirsty? Or whatever, like just these weird thoughts that you wouldn't necessarily want somebody to have access to. So Google is a far closer representation to the inner workings of your mind. Google also has the world's largest and most pervasive mobile operating system. So Google knows the apps that you install and the actions that you take on those apps. I'm not saying that Facebook isn't of value, but I think that I could make the case and be in a very defensible position if I said that Google is a far more robust. It has farther broader breadth and deeper depth, almost on an exponential scale than Facebook. Facebook is an app. It's a application. Google is a multifaceted ecosystem that reaches further than we will ever know. And I mean, there's some danger to that too, but there's also some truth to it. And so this whole like, oh, which application is better, Google or Facebook? Well, I've planted my flag in Google a long time ago. I think that there's more data, there's more segmentation, there's broader reach. It's far more pervasive. So if you're looking for the application that's really going to help you build, if you want to build a business around, then I'm going to say it's Google, hands down. And that doesn't mean abandon Facebook or thumb your nose at Facebook. We still use Facebook for the majority of our clients. And sometimes it's just basic remarketing. And other times it's, hey, let's go get the traffic from Facebook and then convert them on Google or remarket them or whatever. But, I'm not here to say that, oh, I'm good with this hammer, so everything just became a nail. But what I am maybe saying is the Google Ads hammer is a bigger, badder hammer. And it's not a hammer at all at the end of the day. It's like kind of like it's a whole toolbox. So that analogy is going to die on the vine, but I'm going to stick to it because I don't want to re-record this video. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. I know that the title is probably going to end up being clickbaity, but I speak directly to the title, so it's not a bait and switch. And I'd love to know anybody who disagrees. So if you have strong opinions specifically that are opposed to mine, that's a good conversation for us to have. So interested in anybody who thinks that I'm wrong, hit me in the comments. If you like the videos that we're producing, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see these on a regular basis. If I get to 1,000 subscribers, I get to start going live, which I'm really excited about, so help me there. Other than that, I think I'm done. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.